Have you ever found yourself stuck in a loop of endless thoughts, replaying the same scenario over and over, wondering what if, or did I say the right thing? If yes, then you know the exhausting trap called overthinking. But what actually triggers this mental maze? Let's unravel the mystery together. Hello everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that many of us face daily: overthinking. It's that mental habit where your brain refuses to hit the pause button, turning simple decisions or events into overwhelming puzzles. Overthinking can drain your energy, increase anxiety, and even affect your sleep. But understanding what triggers it is the first step to breaking free. So, what exactly causes our minds to spiral out of control? Let's explore the main triggers behind overthinking. 1. Fear of uncertainty and the unknown. One of the most common triggers of overthinking is fear of uncertainty. When we face situations where the outcome is unclear, like waiting for a job interview result or making a big life decision, our minds try to fill in the gaps by imagining every possible scenario. This leads to a flood of what-if questions that spiral out of control. The brain craves certainty and safety, so it attempts to predict and prepare for all outcomes. But this only traps us in endless loops of worrying and doubt. 2. Perfectionism and fear of failure. Perfectionism is a powerful driver of overthinking. Perfectionists set impossibly high standards for themselves and fear making mistakes. This fear of failure pushes them to overanalyze every detail, decision, or action, trying to avoid any imperfection. The result: chronic stress and indecision, because they're terrified of choosing the wrong path. Overthinking here becomes a way to avoid failure by obsessively rehearsing every possibility, but ironically, it often leads to paralysis instead of progress. 3. Past traumas and negative experiences. For many, overthinking is a protective mechanism rooted in past trauma or negative experiences. When someone has experienced trauma, their brain becomes hypervigilant, always on alert for potential threats. Overthinking allows them to dissect current situations in an attempt to avoid repeating past pain or harm. While this can feel like a way to regain control, it often backfires, keeping the person stuck in cycles of rumination and anxiety instead of healing. 4. Low self-esteem and insecurity. Low self-confidence fuels overthinking by making us doubt our choices and worrying excessively about how others perceive us. People with low self-esteem tend to replay conversations, decisions, or social interactions, fearing they've said or done something wrong. This self-doubt creates a mental feedback loop where every thought is questioned and reassurance is constantly sought, which only deepens the cycle of overthinking. 5. Information overload and decision fatigue. We live in an age of constant connectivity and endless information. This overload leads to analysis paralysis, where making even simple decisions feels exhausting because we're trying to weigh every option and outcome. Decision fatigue sets in, and instead of clarity, we get stuck in mental loops, second-guessing ourselves endlessly. 6. Anxiety and stress. High levels of stress and anxiety are major triggers for overthinking. When your brain is already overwhelmed by pressure, whether from work, relationships, or personal challenges, it tends to fixate on problems, magnifying small worries into catastrophic scenarios. This creates a vicious cycle. Anxiety fuels overthinking, and overthinking intensifies anxiety, leaving you mentally drained and emotionally stuck. 7. Lack of emotional awareness and coping skills. Sometimes, overthinking happens because we don't know how to process uncomfortable emotions. Instead of sitting with feelings like sadness, fear, or shame, the brain distracts itself by overanalyzing situations. This mental activity feels safer than facing raw emotions, but it prevents emotional healing and growth. Overthinking becomes a way to avoid feeling vulnerable or overwhelmed. This detailed explanation helps the audience understand that overthinking is not just random, but often deeply rooted in psychological needs like safety, control, and self-worth. Recognizing these triggers is the first step toward managing and reducing overthinking. So, what triggers overthinking? It's a mix of fear, perfectionism, self-doubt, past regrets, and stress. Recognizing these triggers is empowering because it helps you take control. Next time you catch yourself spiraling, pause and ask, is this thought helping me or holding me back? Remember, your mind is a powerful tool. Learn to use it wisely, not let it use you. Thanks for listening. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might be stuck in the overthinking loop. Until next time, keep your thoughts clear and your mind calm.